So this is our forum?
Yes, I guess so. Good evening. We're ready to start the Tuesday, January 6th, 2026. Happy New Year. City of Rollingwood Utility Commission meeting. We'll begin with roll call, beginning on my left.
Chris Kirkson.
Clark Wilson.
Jonathan Miller.
Christopher Meekin.
Perfect. Moving on to public comments. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, which is a discussion of possible action on the minutes from the December 2nd, 2025 Utility Commission meeting. Minutes are in the packet.
I move to approve.
We have a
Second.
motion to approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain, no one here, so.
And one abstain.
The meeting was brief and
It
minutes
was brief.
were brief.
And
Yeah.
the minutes were brief. Moving on to the regular agenda. First item, discussion of possible action to elect a chair of the Utility Commission. Has it been a year?
It has.
Yeah, so are you willing to serve again?
Happily, sure.
Okay, I nominate Jonathan Miller.
Unless, again, someone else is more than happy. I don't know if anyone wrote in.
I think Jonathan Miller does a fabulous job. I
Yes,
second.
agree.
All right.
Well, I'll
There's a
second the
motion,
nomination.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will abstain. Motion passes. Next item is discussion of possible action regarding the commissioning of a rate study for the City of Rollingwood's water utility system. And I know that many of us were here for the last
Last-
rate
So
study
it's
that we
been
did.
some
It's been a
time.
couple of years
Yeah.
since we did that.
And so I guess we can ask the city council would like to see this as a matter of due process, I guess. And our revenues stream is more or less keeping up with our needs in the water.
More or less at the moment. It has been quite a number of years since we had our last water rate study, so one is due up for it.
Okay.
In the packages, we kind of took a stab at what the RFP would be for it. But council asked that the Utility Commission review the need for it, and review what the RFP would look like, so we can go out for it if
Mhm.
you think it's necessary.
And do we have a list of possible providers for, or
No, not at the moment, but the RFP would be advertised in accordance with state law. If we're aware of providers, like I know that we had a few submissions last time, we'd reach out proactively to those people we know perform those kinds of services to make sure that we are getting responses to it. But it'd be advertised to everybody who's
Mhm.
qualified.
Are there any potential changes to operation and maintenance costs as a result of the recent improvements that would maybe cause us to think it would be better to wait a little bit, or is that?
I don't believe so. I think it's a good time, it seems, at the moment to go for it as well. As we were doing the replacement with the CIP project of the water lines when I first got here, some of the water lines that we were moving out of the ground were not just substandard, they were really woefully inadequate.
they were?
So
leaking?
it's fair to assume that there's other parts of the system that have the same deficiencies. So there would
Yep.
be additional costs coming up. So I think that's something that whoever is contracted ultimately for a study, whenever that takes place, would have to account for, because there are other relatively large projects with the water infrastructure we need to undertake.
One thing, and maybe it was not every meeting, but we used to get the budget of where we were able to see where the revenues were relative to the costs, just to keep us, that was certainly when we were realizing that we were borrowing from the general fund to fund the water. That's kind of what drove some of the initial changes that we made to the rates and the fee structures
And we can bring that back as a standing item for you.
maybe
I think that's helpful for the commission to understand.
it certainly
exactly
would be
where they
helpful to
both
see
stand.
how it has performed for 2025 as an example,
Right.
and then it'll help us put into perspective whatever changes may be recommended.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know if we're taking from the general fund or not.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I have no objection to the process and what we need to do. I think it seems like it's time. It's been several years.
Mhm. So you need a motion to recommend?
I think so, because I think the plan then on the staff side will be we'll go out for the RFP. We'll collect all the bids. Staff will open them, make sure there's no obvious deficiencies. Bring it back to the utility commission. We'll put it in your packet so you can all analyze them, see exactly which route you'd like to take, make a recommendation to council, and then go out for the study. And then we'll bring back the study to the commission so that you understand exactly what the recommendation is from that contractor.
Gentles, you may remember the person who did it last time for us. I went back and tried to find that in my hard drive, and I couldn't find it, but it was a woman, and she was excellent. And if we could invite her to bid.
Yeah, we certainly will. We'll look back at everybody who applied last time.
I can't remember her last name, but I just remember her first name because it was Lisa.
Oh, but I thought she did an excellent job.
Anyway, she can certainly be.
Yeah, so we can invite her to bid. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, we certainly will. We'll look at who's interested last time, including the person who's awarded, and we'll proactively reach out to those
Because
individuals.
they may not have to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
So we'll make a motion to move forward with a rate study as outlined in the packet for this week, which includes the process around receiving RFPs.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's everyone. Motion passes. That works. Next item, and one of Chris's favorite, discussion on possible improvements to cellular service. But there is a follow-up item with this, so it isn't just broadly thrown out.
Hello. So Alan and I had a meeting with the Torre Blanco group, and it was kind of an introduction meeting, explaining how Rollingwood is, the hills that we have, basics. We do plan on having another meeting in around 2 weeks. That is going to be a little bit more in detail about which internet service provider would be even willing to want to do work here in Rollingwood since we are so small. So that's kind of our whole update. If y'all are wanting us to continue this, continue to have the meeting.
Yeah, so
Up to
I
you.
I didn't really understand. I read their material, but they actually have a single internet an internet service provider
Yeah.
and a cell service provider. They cover all companies that
Yeah, I didn't
provide
see
service.
that either. Which companies? Is it T-Mobile? Is it
They
AT&T?
reach
Is it whatever?
they reach out to different ones, and whichever one wants to work in the city is which one they go to. I believe whenever I was emailing them, they had not been able to get back from AT&T as far as choosing one and then them being able to provide service for everyone. I'm not too sure. I'd assume so, but I'm not too sure about that one.
Just the technical details are that they install and frequently placed antennas around town. And are those antennas connected to the internet? Is that the way?
I wouldn't say antennas. It was more like a structure that looks like a light pole to make it. Oh, okay. Then yes, basically.
So
to
they have
give
a
service.
network of antennas, and do they connect those to the internet via, say, Google Fiber or something?
Yes.
Is that the way it works? So the idea is that they provide the antennas, so those are the question would be whether they're just going to work with, say, T-Mobile or AT&T, or whether all of these providers for cell service would be served by their network of antennas. I think that's an important question.
Yeah, and we'll find out that for sure for the next meeting that we're having in 2 weeks.
And of course, the other question is cost.
Right, of course.
Do they want us to pay for it, or are they going to pay for it? They want us to pay
Sure,
for
it's
it.
our,
Yeah.
I would think it's our expense to do it, for sure.
Yeah, so that would be part of, a ballpark estimate of what they think would provide service for
I
us.
think it just helps put things, as long as the work being done is their work, as opposed to putting the burden on the administrative staff.
Right.
Right, let them work, they can come up with whatever proposal they wanna do, and we at least have the perspective to say, it costs X amount of money to get one service provider available within the city, obviously.
Well, maybe not. I mean,
Or-
maybe they don't want
Or
it.
they don't want it, in which case we can put this kind of to bed, I think, which might be the final, what we're looking to do is to say, we went through a process, we spoke to a person, they reached out to all of the providers, and they all said, live with it. So,
Yeah, and that might be the case in the next meeting. We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
That's I would say continue and just give us an update when.
Gotcha.
Perfect. Well, that's the last item. If there's anything else that anyone would like to bring up or add to the agenda for next week, we talked about the water performance, the financials, the budget, perhaps for next meeting. But otherwise, if there's nothing, I
So-
will.
So do you expect to have the proposers or you're gonna solicit in the next week or so and then have do you think you'll have your proposals in from the different,
Some
people?
timing for the rate study RFPs.
Possibly. So we have to advertise it. State law says we advertise a week apart. We need to have some time to have people actually come up with a good proposal. My experience, I've had a couple of times in my career where I've been asked to hurry up and do a very short proposal window, and you normally end up with people who aren't really quite as serious or aren't quite as in depth with it, and you end up with change orders and kind of issues with that. So I'd say it's going to be pretty close, but optimistically it might be ready for the next utility commission. Otherwise, it'll probably be in the March one, and March likely. It just depends on how the days fall out in February.
Council member McDuffie, is that okay? That if we,
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I don't think we have a tight timeline on this. What we're trying to do is be methodical about analyzing all that and then looking at the tiers of billing. So it's kind of holistic with all of our water, you know, so there's, you know, this isn't something that needs to go
And is our data better now that we've had the digital?
significantly better.
So my
Like
hope is
we've
that
got,
might improve
we've got
timely.
great data now.
no appeals
Well, and we're
Pretty
work
much.
and
to us,
I-
to y'all, but not to
You missed
us.
one, you missed one, but
we
that's.
spent some time with spent some time with Veronica, and you know they're doing just about everything to try to be proactive to notify people when they have leaks. Just FYI, there were 70 something. What was it? 77 when we came to look. So 77 active leaks in the city of Rollingwood when we just popped in to go like, hey, how many we got? Some of them, I mean, a lot of them are 1 and 2 gallons, but they have to be continuous over the course of 24 hours. So that's leaking toilet or something like that. So that's a lot of them, but there were some that were quite significant. So working on that, looking at what else we can do to try to, a lot of people still aren't signed up for Ion Water or Leak Alert, and should council dictate terms of where you have to set your leak alert so you don't set it up to 1,000 gallons an hour or something like that type of thing. But we're getting there, and it should lead to less water being wasted, and that will help us in our negotiations to get a new water source too. So that's where we're at.
Thank you. To the extent that the RFPs and that information will be not the next meeting, but the following, unless there's something pressing that comes up in between, I don't know if there's necessarily anything. So let us know if something comes up in the interim that would make sense to keep the next meeting. Otherwise, let's make sure we have the information so we can be most efficient at the following meeting.
For sure. Yeah, we won't want to drag you guys in here if there's nothing really to do.
Perfect. That's all. Then
Motion.
I will adjourn.